What is up, y'all? This is the Wrestling for Life Network. We are here for TNA Impact. There's a lot to talk about tonight. We got a lot of matches going down. We got some debuts happening tonight on TNA Impact. I am not here alone, but we got a lot to get into. I'm excited for it. So strap in, strap on, get ready for another live stream here on the Wrestling for Life Network. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Wrestling for Life Network. This is another live stream, and this live stream is all around TNA Impact. I am not here alone. I am Ringsider Anthony, and that is Big Nick.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Wrestling for Life Network proudly brings to you its YouTube tag stream champions of the world, the man who puts the T in TNA, Ringsider Anthony. I am Big Nick, and unfortunately, my guy, I know it's been a minute since we've seen each other, but we got to start this off on some bad news. Thoughts and prayers out there to good old JR. Announced earlier today that he's been diagnosed with colon cancer. I believe he's already got the surgery set up and scheduled and everything. So thoughts and prayers go out to good old JR.
Yeah, I saw that earlier today, passing through work and scrolling through Twitter, and JR has been through so much since his wife passed away. I don't know if it was around COVID or right after, but he's been through so much, and for him to continue to be as strong as he is right now, that's a strong man to go through all of that right now in his tender age, in his golden years. So all the big prayers up to Jim Ross.
Oh yeah, we just lost Sabu, so God forbid anything happened to JR. And JR is proof positive that whole theory that whatever deity you believe into, that they give their strongest warriors their toughest battles and everything. Because this man, Bell's palsy multiple times, lost this family member, lost that family member, lost his wife and everything, has dealt with this, dealt with that medical issue, and now is dealing with colon cancer on top of everything.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like it was just one thing after another for JR, and for him to just kind of announce that today on Twitter, I was like, man, when is he going to catch that moment to breathe and that moment of a break for him? But like you said, whatever person you pray to, like sometimes you get that toughest battles to the strongest warrior. So all the big ups to Mr. JR there.
Right. Now, I don't know if this counts as a segue, but I'm going to try and make it work to go into something positive after that and everything. But speaking of strong warriors and everything, you're the resident TNA insider. How are you feeling about tonight's Impact? Is it live or is it taped, by the way?
So TNA is taped tonight.
Okay.
And this is the pre-go home show to Under Siege next week, as I'm calling it. I'm hoping that it's a little bit better than last week. Last week was not bad, but I wouldn't give it like an 8 or anything. It was around the 6, not the 6, but the 7-ish mark. It opened up very strong with Trick Williams and Joe Hendry, and then after that, I feel like they didn't really capitalize on it, and it just kind of stayed the same. Like it stayed consistent, but it wasn't like we need another big moment to capture the Trick Williams thing. The last match was the TNA International Championship match. That was it wasn't a street fight, can't remember.
Dog collar match. Trust me, I've been waiting to talk about this match because it was the only thing anyone was talking about. Best stipulation match, I think, in TNA in recent memory. That was, if you haven't watched a TNA match in a while, go and watch that match.
Oh yeah, the dog collar match was brutal. It was intense. If you saw the ring after the match was done, it was all covered in blood. Both gentlemen were covered in blood. The TNA International Championship was covered in blood. And so and I don't know how true it is now because I'm seeing conflicting reports, but about 2 weeks ago, before that match was, scheduled to air, there was a thing going around that was TNA's last bloody, bloody match because they were trying to find a TV deal and they were trying to clean up their product a little bit. And then 3 days ago, I'm seeing that that's not true. So because I kind of went out like in my head in the theory that they were going out with a bang. They were just going to pull out all the stops since this was going to be the last one for a very long time. And I really think they did. But now it's like a backtrack of that. And that's not what they're doing. But I mean, like Nick said, if you haven't seen that match, go find it somewhere and watch it because it was intense.
That was I knew, unfortunately, that the TNA last week was clearly taped and everything, and had heard about that match. Hadn't heard the results or anything, but just had heard that this was going to be one don't miss. And 100% they delivered. And I mean, to say that I saw that what you were talking about, they were cutting out blood and everything, because obviously they are trying to get a TV deal, which would be a huge get for them. But we just saw blood last night on the arguably second biggest company that has very much a lucrative TV deal. So I don't see why in 2025 that's as big of an issue, and especially with the buzz and the attention that match got. Like, it wasn't like it got a negative attention because it was too much blood, or it was, thumbtacks on a board to the back, what have you. No, it got over on being a quality match, and every bit of violence that happened in that match was deserved and earned.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I went back and watched it, last weekend actually, and I was like, man, this was brutal. And you just came off of like 4 weeks ago from Unbreakable and the brutal match between Mance Warner and Sammy Callahan, and then to capitalize on that 4 weeks later with that match, I mean, it was insane. And really, I hope they continue. Like, I don't mind if they stop the excessive blood, that doesn't bother me. But when TNA does it, they do it very well. And when WWE has its moments of blood, like the CM Punk and Hell in the Cell match had bad blood with Drew McIntyre, like it was
Right.
great. So I kind of hope TNA continues to do it. But man, that was like you said, out of all, I didn't know the results of that match, but I just saw everybody online say this is can't miss. You have to at least watch this match.
Absolutely is. We've got about 7 minutes before the show kicks off, so we'll say hi to the chat in a quick second. But I think very much, I will say this last thing, is that I think TNA will move away from like the barbed wire massacre type stuff, like you said, or you mentioned Sammy and Mance. They might move away from literally a fountain of blood coming out of a man's forehead. But you can do a dog collar match. WWE just did it. Like you mentioned the Hell in a Cell, they had blood, the hard way in that. If you make it call for it and you keep it sparingly and you don't go over the edge with it of like, we're going to have the ropes or barbed wire and you've got to put your opponent through glass to win the match type thing, they'll maybe shy away from that. They'll move away from that aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely see that. I definitely agree with that. Because from what I'm understanding, that they are really looking for a TV deal. Shout out to the president of Anthem Sports who follows me on Twitter. So we out there trying to make big moves, apparently.
Big things popping, little things stopping up to something. Season never sleeps. But speaking of things that don't sleep, my guy, and I see we got about 60 people kicking with us. Let's see if we can keep that number going, keep the likes going, be a friend, tell a friend, like, share, and subscribe, all of that. But King Callum Jess Islip Winner Circle was out here at 3:48 a.m. this morning saying this should be a great TNA tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming in early hours before TNA even starts.
Literally, like I hadn't even clocked into work yet, and I clock in at 5 a.m. and this person's already in the comments and everything. But that's how you know they're dedicated out there supporting the wrestling for us.
Exactly. I was still asleep, snuggled up, waiting to get up
there
at
you go.
6
Man,
o'clock
tucked
in at
in like a bug in
7:30.
the rug. Dak, what up? There's KJ from the Great Beyond. It's Friday, Junior, and we have TNA Impact on tap tonight. The most unscripted, uncensored, and unbiased reaction. Get in the chat, hit like, share, subscribe, and subscribe now. Let's go. Did that work as a KJ impression?
I think so.
Did you feel
think
the Canadian come out in me?
a little bit.
There you go. Eric, what up? Oh, hey, Wrestling for Life buddies. Can't wait for tonight's show. And sad to see Jessica Havoc gone from TNA. I have not seen or confirmed this. Have you?
No, I have not seen it or confirmed it, but she hasn't been in TNA since like Under Siege of last year. So it doesn't surprise me if this is official. So it's not like I don't want to say I won't miss her, but I haven't seen her in so long where it doesn't affect me. I say it
This
like
is
that.
this is how you know this man's beside me is good. That's why he's the TNA insider. Man's quoted exactly what Eric said in the rest of the comment and everything without even looking at it. Haven't seen her since Ash took her out at Under Siege last year. You literally quoted the exact pay-per-view and everything. So
I didn't even see
that's
that
what I'm
last
saying. Man's good. Man's good. It was pulled up, so you might have cheated, but man's is good. Max saying I was unaware of this. Hell yeah, guys. Absolutely. Trust me. Thursdays have lately become, if we ain't doing original content, it's out here, TNA Impact, especially with now them going live and them about to get potentially a new TV deal. We're getting Joe Hendry versus Trick Williams at Battleground, and maybe we can talk about that a little bit later because I don't think it should be at Battleground. I think that should be a TNA match. I think that should be at maybe Under Siege or something like that. But we'll talk about that a little later.
We will. I like that.
Sean, what up? Morel, how do you spell? Kevin, what up? Eric again. Trey, Timmy, shouting out ECW. Addy, what up? Trey, Wrestling Proud. Vance, the Yeet God. What's up, Anthony and Big Nick? Hashtag WFU for life. Hashtag WFLN. Hashtag end tribalism. Yeah, and well, now you've even got the wrestlers saying it's fucking stupid. It's fucking stupid. We're all friends. It's fucking stupid.
Oh my God, the tribalism is just wild over the past couple of days and over the past couple of months, to be honest. And even, the Rhea thing. I don't know if you saw that. We can maybe
yes.
get to that in a commercial break or something. But even the Rhea thing that came out yesterday was like, man, sometimes fans just need to shut up.
Yeah, it's interesting how guys like Kevin Owens that are saying, maybe leave us alone at the airport are actually pretty goddamn right here. But
right.
Trey, what up? Cherokee, George, even though I've been following the tornadoes in Wisconsin, bad situation. Who's in on the TNA card today? Well, we'll get to that in a minute. But I did T's and P's, I guess, duck and cover for anyone out there in Wisconsin. I didn't know there was tornadoes in Wisconsin.
Yeah, I did not, but we are in that tornado season, so anything can happen at this point.
Fair enough. But Daniel Barry Sports saying, yo, MDB, the champ is here. T's and P's, the good old JR. And they did also see MDB say at one point, he's just here to torment you, apparently.
I guess so. He's not doing a very good job of it. I've moved past it. He hasn't. So
man has the patience of a saint. Literally, if you want to agitate somebody, agitate me or KJ. That's easier to get than Anthony.
Absolutely,
it's a lot easier to upset one of us than it is Anthony.
Right. I'm always the calm, cool, and collected one.
Trust me, Boston tries frequently. But Brandon, what up out there on the Twitch? Don't forget, we have the Twitch as well. We got the Twitch, we got the Instagram, we got the Twitters, we got the merch stores, we got this, that, and all the gizmos and gadgets for all your wrestling needs. Yeah, see, I'm mostly here just to harass Anthony anyway. Foxy Pug out there on the Twitch sending the Joe Hendry emoji.
That's exactly what it looks like.
Right, Ken, what up? Smile Mark. Is Stone versus Santino a step towards a total integration or just a short-term storyline? If the show wasn't about to start, my guy, I got to ask you about all of the controlling, like who's in charge in TNA right now? I don't know.
It's weird. So Santino is still technically in charge. He's the deputy. What is it? The deputy of authority, and Robert Stone and Victoria Crawford, Alicia Fox is like the executive deputy of authority. It is a higher title than him, but like he can overturn Santino.
How high of a title is deputy?
I don't even know.
Sheriff.
I feel like we gotta ask Walker, Texas Ranger. Like, what's the highest? Is deputy and then sheriff? I don't know.
As I have the show kicking off with in memory of Sabu, so absolutely throw that up. And I did really like Taz's comment last night of Sabu was aura before aura. Yeah. And that's really kind of the best way to put it. Of he had a fucking presence anytime he was on any sort of screen.
Yeah, absolutely. He always captivated the screen, no matter what company he was in or wrestling for at that time. Sabu is always going to be one of those legends that go down in history as one of the great hardcore legends, in wrestling, period.
Absolutely. Jeremy, what up? What up? Small Mark, Chris, Anthony with the hips is here.
We are not doing that for 2 nights. We are
How
not.
did we get designated with the hips? Now I got to know about the hips as I'm getting
Think
a
about it,
replay of
Nick.
everything
Think
we
about it.
know.
Who would say something like that in the chat?
Boston?
Yes, absolutely. There you go.
Fair enough. Well, I had a 50-50 shot. It was Boston or MDB. Alexis, how you be? Boston, he looked at it. There you go. But yes, folks, we're trying to get through everybody in the chat. Keep it going as I see 85 people kicking it with us right now. Absolutely. Show some love for TNA. We always love slime TNA when we can. And trust me, if you want us to cover it more, show some love. Be a friend, tell a friend, all of that.
Absolutely.
Don't just talk about each other's hips and everything. That's all. Yes, we do have the super chats and super stickers as well. In case we miss any of your comments or anything like that, you want to help support the channel, make sure you get your comments read, all of that. Dawn, hey, Nick and Anthony, hope all is well. What up? What up?
What up, Dawn?
As again, I'm just getting the replay of everything from last week. Walker, Texas Ranger. Now, why is Chuck Norris in it? Now we're getting more confused. McAvoy or Stewart. These timelines are confusing. Oh, the hips don't lie, though. The hips don't lie.
So. Apparently.
Anthony's in authority. He's got the guy from Anthem following him. He's the next in line, next of kin to be authority for TNA right now. He's gonna be the Ava Rain of TNA.
Oh no! Not Ava Rain.
You'd be Tony Rings. You tea time with Tony. You'd be like William Regal. You gotta have a spot of tea.
So, as TNA kicks off, we're actually kicking off with the match that I'm not excited about because there's a certain superstar in this match that I don't care about. But it's Victoria Crawford and Tessa Blanchard versus Masha and Nikita Lyons. And
now if only I could get a pull up, maybe we could figure out which one you don't like. Because I mean, is it interesting that TNA has merch specifically saying "I hate Tessa" or "I don't like Tessa" or whatever the fuck it says?
It's definitely interesting for them to put out shirts for her like that. And I know that, you know,
lean into the hate.
Yeah, they're leaning into the hate, and then it's kind of I think it's a copy of her dad's shirt, maybe. I hate Tully. I think it was a shirt that people compared it to too. Like it literally had the same style and writing. But then we got Nikita Lyons in this match, that's the one I'm not really liking because I'm like, why is she here?
You read Trey's mind, so why is Nikita in TNA?
Like, I don't get it.
I don't. As someone who, I'm going to mention them as they come out and talk about each situation because Tessa, we've spoken enough about that. Victoria Crawford. I mean, I don't know, dog. I mean, it was Foxy always felt like she was tied very much to that Divas era, and I don't think she ever really evolved past that. And that level of women's wrestling in 2025, it ain't it, dog. It ain't it.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. There are certain women from that time period that didn't grow out of that. Alicia Fox was, and just like a lot of the women, they were there in a time period where it did not work out. I haven't seen Alicia Fox wrestle much outside of that Divas era. The only match that I seen recently was the one she took on Jordan Grace, and apparently for Jordan Grace that was a dream match for her because she really liked Alicia watching the Divas era. It's funny because someone who's built like Jordan Grace literally said in the interview with Chris Van Vliet that she wanted to be a diva, and I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. Right?
Boo-boo. But I mean,
but this is the last thing I'll say about Alicia. That match she had with Jordan wasn't bad at all. Not saying it was a banger, not saying it was great. I saw more out of Alicia in that match than I ever saw in her career, and I'll say it like that.
Fair. I was about to say, is it a bit of a telling issue that that's the last or first time you can think of her wrestling outside of any time outside of the 2000s? But I like Foxy Pug out here saying, this is my first time actually being here. I feel all fancy. Well, folks, if you want your fancy pants on, join Foxy over there on Twitch. But yes, as the lady with all the fancy pants, the lady with all the taunts, the lady that got demoted from a demotion to evolution, I liked her. It's crazy to me because I remember I've been on the channel long enough at this point. The channel's been going literally since she started in NXT to now. She's gone through injury. She's been relegated to evolution. I don't know what the fuck she's trying to be anymore. Are you a karate expert? Are you a pop star? Are you just thought bait? What are you? And you do none of those things well either. Like,
and not one bit. Like, not one. It seems like ever since she came back from injury, and I think she's been injured 2 or 3 times. It's like nothing really is exciting to see her in the ring for other than her assets. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, she got
right.
that.
I don't know why she's here tonight. And like you say, she took the secondary demotion there by going to Evolve. I don't know. I don't get it.
But honestly, that's at this point where she fits. And I love this though from MDB of she's Michelle McCool. As we've got Tessa and Nikita, probably the 2 most disliked women in pro wrestling right now in the ring. But yeah, Nikita, to me, it's just one of those. You are a jack of none of those trades and a master of none as well. Like there's a jack involved with you, but I don't think we want to talk about that. But it's just beyond that. Like there's nothing to her. It doesn't work anymore. Like she came in where you thought she was going to be something. And this is just, I'm all the way off this train. Just, I don't know what's salvageable.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, what do we do with her? Why, is there something we can do? Like, she's been in NXT so long that other women have passed her and, are on the way of being called up or are in that limbo area where they're still showing up on NXT, but showing up on Raw and SmackDown.
She was at the point to where she was like next in line to be NXT Women's Champion. She was the next big thing in NXT. And now she's not even the next big thing in fucking Evolve.
Exactly.
That's the thing. I think the bus has passed her the fuck by. She's out here hitchhiking and no one's can pick her up.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I totally agree with everything you're saying about Nikita Lyons.
Sorry, I know you said you didn't like her, and I've just been waiting to unpack one of just going off on her of like, because I've seen her and was a fan of her when she started off. And I remember like her versus Zoe Starks. And then now to see, respectfully, even where Zoe is, though, but Zoe's a lot further along than where Nikita is.
That's true. That's true. A lot further along. She lost her fellow PF Chang members, but she's still kicking around.
Fair enough. But folks, we do have the match going on. Let us know whether you got Christ, the only likable person in this match is Masha.
It really is. It really is.
If you're a Brady Bunch fan, you don't want to cheer for Masha. So yeah.
Exactly. And when it comes to Victoria Crawford, Alicia Fox, it's like, and like everything you said about her being in the Divas era, is accurate, right? Honestly, the only reason I feel like she's talked about a lot, not because of kind of what she did in WWE, is because if you remember that Tough Enough season when what is her name? Cameron was asked by Stone Cold what her favorite match was of all time. And she said Melina versus Alicia Fox. And Stone Cold was like, who? And she was like, Melina versus Alicia Fox. That's kind of how, in my opinion, Alicia Fox blew up.
Yeah, all I can picture right now was Stone Cold. Why? Your favorite match, Alicia Fox? Why? Melina? Why? Your name is Cameron? Why?
I mean, and in her defense, she had said she had just started watching wrestling, but it was still fun.
Cameron ain't talented either. Like that's
Oh no,
take it
no,
from the fucking
absolutely
source. There
not.
ain't shit to be heard about that. But anyways,
Absolutely not.
but yes, we've got now all hell's broken loose. But yes, let us know, folks, who you taking in this match, whether you're taking team heel or team less heel, whether you're taking team Essa and Alicia Fox, Victoria Crawford, or Masha and Fakita. JT, hey guys, what's up? So who do you have? You don't like Nikita, so
I mean, I have to take Masha and Nikita, obviously, because I like Masha. And it seems like this match is ended in a disqualification. Yeah. So Masha wind up assaulting everybody on the opposite team with a chair.
Well, and Christopher, I think his name was mentioned earlier. Isn't Nikita halfway heel supposed to be? And now Santina, no, not on my watch.
Exactly. I guess you can call this team, if she's a halfway heel, a tweener team. I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, the heel team or the slightly less heel team.
Less heel team.
Are we going to restart the match right now? But now, can you do that on the deputy? Yes, Santino's restarting the match.
He's restarting the match. I feel like we'll get an appearance from Robert Stone, though, unless I'm wrong.
Well, I was gonna say, you got the deputy out there that's involved in this match, so is he? Yeah, God,
there you go.
Anthony, why are you so right all the time, sir? Let the people know you called it.
Yeah, so he overruled it and said the ruling of the match stands.
I shot the sheriff, but I don't give a fuck about this deputy.
So next,
who the fuck is in control here?
I'm assuming, I might be wrong. I guess I'm assuming it's Robert Stone and Victoria Crawford that are in charge here. Which,
how did he get usurped? How did Santino get why did he get Caesared?
So apparently what they're saying is that Robert Stone and Victoria Crawford were hired by management to oversee Santino Marella because they feel like he hasn't been making good decisions.
What in the Eric Bischoff and Vince Russo bullshit is this?
I thought it was all weird to begin with. After a couple of weeks of seeing how it's been going down, I find it more hilarious and entertaining more than anything. But
I got videos on my Instagram of Santino saying, hey, Robert Stone, guess what I'm doing? I'm out here at Home Depot running errands right now. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? You're supposed Nick Aldis, Adam Pearce are not out there talking about how they're running errands and everything to prove that they're the GM of Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown, respectively. Even A. Lorraine, she just sent Stevie Turner to Evolve, and I guess she just made Robert Stone TNA's problem.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And then you think about it here, I feel like this just kind of plays into a lot of what's going to happen at Under Siege. I don't know if you're aware, but at Under Siege, Masha defends the title against Victoria Crawford, Alicia Fox. So it's like, I think Robert Stone is going to play heavily in that match. I don't think Victoria Crawford is going to win. Masha has to hold on to that title, but I think it's just going to be shenanigans next Friday. So I don't know, bro. But if she come out as the champion, Victoria Crawford, I'm gonna be shocked. I'm gonna be like, oh my god, TNA, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah, I'm
like, I'm
just disappointed.
Exactly. And I'm not trying to be like, no hate towards Victoria Crawford, Alicia Fox. I actually do like her, not like as a wrestler. I explained it in a TikTok video that her like character was funny when she was kind of crazy with all the antics and stuff like that. That part of her was very, very funny. And that's kind of why I like her. But having Masha lose to Victoria, I ain't a booker, but it might not be the best decision.
That is a big old, and Mike Rouse, what up, Wrestler Rants? There you go, Deputy JT Dill saying I hate Robert Stone. But yeah, I remember Alicia Fox with like when she's out there and like you said, she's crazy and she's got the, she's leading the marching band hat and everything. And I can't remember if it was her and Carmella, or it was her and somebody, her and Maria Kanellis had a terrible back and forth spot moment in a Royal Rumble that they were both just relying on all their gimmicks and everything. So it's no disrespect to Victoria Crawford, Alicia Fox.
Yeah.
But I have been a Masha fan for the longest time. I still feel slighted from the fucking top 500 or whatever it was, the PWI 500 from like 2 years ago, to where Masha was lower in the women's than she was in the overall in the men's and everything. So what the fuck are we doing out here?
Yeah,
Masha losing to a Divas champion. Haktua.
No, I absolutely like this is. I feel like this is like it's not the first time, but it's a rare that we agree. But I'm like, yeah, I agree with you. Like her character, it has always been funny. Every time she loses a match, she throws a fit, throws a tantrum. Like I find all of that funny. But yeah, like Masha losing to Victoria Crawford. TNA, don't do it at all. Please stay clear.
Yeah, bold strategy, Cotton. As we had a NBA player mentioned, I can't remember his name, tells you how relevant he was. And the Diener storyline. How you feeling?
The Diener storyline is very interesting. So apparently, the storyline wise, don't know how true his contract is up, but like his contract was supposed to be up at Rebellion, and they or the live episode of TNA, and they said if he could beat, and I don't know who he's facing, I can't remember. At Under Siege, it might be Eddie Edwards. If he can beat Eddie Edwards at Under Siege, he can. They'll extend his contract. So this will be a little bit fun. If that happens, if he wins and extends his contract. I like Cody Deaner. They haven't really done much with him, but he's one of those people you just like to see on your screen because he's going to make you laugh.
Cody Deaner will always hold a special place in my heart because I think it was Scott Woodford got a cameo from Cody to actually shout out the channel when we were reaching 4K subscribers. And now we're almost at 7K subscribers and everything. But so yeah, Diener will always, just on that note alone, always hold a special place in my heart. And he's a guy that he's like a TNA lifer. He's one of those, like, he's there. It's you saw a bit with like Ring of Honor. You've seen it with a couple other smaller indie promotions of like they're always attached to that brand. Like if Cody isn't in TNA, I respectfully don't know where he fits in.
No, absolutely. It's like TNA is the place for him to be. Like I don't see Cody Deaner in an AEW. I don't see Cody Deaner anywhere in WWE. Certain wrestlers just have that persona and look for a certain company, and that's what Cody Deaner is for TNA.
Right. But yes, Wrestle Rants. Wow, shaking my head. What just happened? Shaking my head. So I guess Santino's not running the show. I guess not.
Well, yeah, I guess not.
Robert Stone has the tie-in actually to TNA because he was Robbie E. Yes. I remember, and then when you even got Joaquin out there was DJ Zima Ion. See, I know my lore.
Yeah, and I didn't even realize when I did the TNA review last week or 2 weeks ago, and I was talking about Robert Stone, I called him Robbie E because I thought that was his actual name in WWE. And when I rewatched the TNA review and Googled it, I was like, oh, Robbie E is actually his TNA name. So I was right.
Yeah. What comes around is all around, Ricky. Vance, what up? Sin, what up? We here. We in here. Brandon saying Santino was just annoying now. It was funny 10 years ago. No, but I think that TNA having him as that babyface kind of on-air authoritative figure worked. He's a veteran. It gives you that nice little halfway tie into NXT because you had Ariana Grace of Bring Your Daughter to Work Day shit. I don't know. It would feel weird I think right now with the infancy of this blooming TNA, to have like heel management, like to go back to like Dixie Carter type
Yeah.
shit.
No, I agree with you. And when it comes to Santino, I guess Santino is just not for everybody because I find him hilarious. Like he calls Masha Slamovich. He calls Victoria Crawfish, and Steve Macklin and Steve McLean. Like that stuff is funny to me.
I still love it every time. It's still always it's John Cena. It is never John Cena. It is John Cena.
No, absolutely.
JV, my favorite new hobby is going into what the and attacking the $1 DVD bin in search of horror movies. Well, there you go, JV.
That's a good hobby to have.
That sounds like a slightly healthier hobby than his former hobby, which was, chasing people around on golf carts.
I do see a comment that I kind of want to click on here.
Click away, sir.
That says, I haven't spoken about Josh Alexander being turned into a squash Alexander in AEW. I have a lot of feelings about TNA talent heading to AEW. We can just look at Deonna Purrazzo. They're trying to do something with Mike Bailey, but it was a bad move for Josh Alexander to come in, immediately take an L to Hangman Adam Page, and then align with the Don Callis family. Yeah. All of that, it was bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. That's how I feel.
It's almost like we all kind of thought that's how it was gonna go.
Absolutely.
It went that way. Holy shit. If I see a car parked on a train track and I hear the fucking whistle blowing and the gates come down, I think someone's about to get hit by a fucking train. Right. I don't need this, that, and the third to tell me otherwise. I can walk away and tell you what happened.
No, agreed. As we got the Great Hands coming out, they're about to face the Rascals in some tag team action. This should be a little bit exciting. And the Great Hands are out here with Tasha Steelz.
Yeah, yes, in 4 we trust. And by the way, don't call them the Good Hands. They are the Great Hands.
They are the Great Hands, absolutely. Yeah, but as we do have the Rascals coming out now, so this should be an exciting tag team match, I think.
Oh, absolutely. This is now a bit of a more interesting conversation, I feel. Does TNA have a bit more of a claim to having one of the better tag team divisions in wrestling right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say I don't want to call them number one because
I wouldn't say they're the best. I think there's conversations.
Oh yeah. I feel like when it comes to TNA right now, they might be a step above, and I'm gonna treat Raw and SmackDown differently and not just WWE as a whole. They're a step above where SmackDown is, right? Because SmackDown's kind of been cooking with their tag team division, and with TNA, they do tend to keep tag teams around a bit more. If I had to put them in an order, I would actually right now, not giving TNA the top spot, I would put them on the same level as SmackDown, and then I would probably give it to NXT. I think they're trying to find their footing again with Fraxium being called up, and then I would give it to Raw, and then I would give it to AEW.
Well, fair enough. I'm pretty much right there with you. As we've got Trey Miguel taking on, is this left or right of the Great Hands? I can't tell.
I never can remember their names. I just go by the Great.
Like I said, we just need to go left or right. Just do this shit and we can figure out left or right. Yeah. But Ken, what up? Just Joe, what up? But I would go SmackDown 1. Is TNA 2 or is NXT 2? I think those might be tied at 2 or close. Like you can interchange those.
You can interchange those.
Beneath that, AEW is just they don't have tag teams. I fucking hate to tell you, they don't have tag teams,
or they
don't have actual tag teams. They put together in tag teams. Sorry,
right? I mean, I don't know where Private Party is. I don't know where those. What is it? They're the sons of not Road Dog, but the other one. The Guns.
The gun club. Yeah,
Where,
actually, where the fuck is this gun club?
yeah, where are the Guns? There's another tag team that everybody really like. They have that like that 80s feel, that 70s, 80s feel.
Oh, the Outrunners.
The Outrunners, right? And you got FTR, but it's like none of them are being
I will
used.
say AEW has a deeper division than I would say Monday Night Raw, especially, but they don't use them anywhere near that level. Yeah. And that's saying something because Monday Night Raw does not use their tag team division that well.
Oh no, absolutely. No, absolutely. You're right on point there. But I even with the ranking of putting NXT and TNA kind of in the same boat with the tag teams is a fair statement and a fair point there.
Right. Yes, folks, let us know who you got, whether you got the Rascals or the Great Hands, as both left and right are hitting up, down, down, left, right.
Right.
Trey Miguel right now.
So the one that's currently in the ring with the tattoo, I do just remembered his name. That's Jason Hotch. And I think the other one is something Skyler.
Did you just hit Chat GBT of make a white person name? Because I feel like that's what you did. Because yeah, those are it's like, is this a real person or is this a pro wrestler name?
Right. So okay, I googled it just to make sure I was right. The one in the ring is Jason Hotch, and the one that was just thrown out is John Skyler.
Fair enough. Well, Hassan's taking the Great Hands. Paul's Hank and Tank are my new favorite team. They've been my favorite team. So glad you're on the Hank and Tank train, as Zachary Wentz with a splash onto 2 count. Wrestling Proud. Where was it? Of MDB out there trying to be the people's champ. But yeah, of Anthony finds Santino hilarious, but won't watch Austin Powers. Bruh, you can't make this up.
Absolutely. Next comment.
Well, then next comment from MDB. Y'all make me feel like the people's chat and the people's champ in the chat sometimes. All right, man's getting that Dwayne head about him. Pause. Yeah. FTR is a joke. Yes, they are. Sadly.
Yeah, I don't know what them. Yeah.
I could go in a whole diatribe about that Daniel Garcia segment. That was the most embarrassing thing I've watched in wrestling in a while. My wife laughed at that, and my wife does not watch a ton of wrestling. She knows wrestling from a while ago, and what I forced upon her, she sat there and watched Dynamite with me and laughed during that whole fucking segment. Yeah.
As we got Mustafa Ali causing some sort of a distraction, making the Great Hands maybe win here.
2, 3, as they do.
I was totally wrong. I thought the Rascals was going to take this.
Again, stop being so right, my guy. Every time you say something, it literally happens right after you say it.
I wonder where we kind of go. I'm still trying to figure out where we go with Mustafa Ali here. I don't know what we're doing. He's kind of on the rebound since he lost to Santana.
I'm surprised he's not into that's a different image of Mustafa Ali taking the ring skirt and draping it over Trey Miguel and choking him out with it as Ace Austin comes out. I mean, he's clearly the heel, but the international intercontinental title that they have, I feel like I'm surprised he's not going towards that. I don't think he can go towards the world title right now because it's Occupado.
Yeah.
So him in the Fatal 4-Way that I believe we're about to get next wouldn't be a bad show.
Exactly. Last week, if anybody watched the TNA review, I not ranted, but I kind of like spoke highly of Mustafa Ali's group, and I basically said how they could really book them, and they could book them similar to the system. Right now, the world title it's occupied, but you can put that international title on Mustafa Ali. Even though I want Steve Macklin to hold it for a minute, this is just down the line. You can put that international championship on Mustafa Ali. You can build up the great hands behind Mustafa Ali, taking on the Nemeths to eventually take the tag team titles. And if you really want to put Tasha Steelz hasn't had a main feud really since she fought with Mickie James and dethroned Mickie James like 2.5 years ago. If you want to put her in something good, you put her in the Knockouts World title picture, potentially after Masha loses it, because Masha's already beat her several times, and then maybe you can establish her again as a top knockout in the division. That's going to take some work, but they could do it. They can do it.
Fair. Well, I'm gonna say hi to a few people as we're in commercial break, and I feel like you said what works best and then ran past it a little. Wesley, what up? Byron, what up? Boston's dude's trying to suffocate him with a brief little fabric. Listen, sometimes it's suspension of disbelief, god damn it. Danielle Bellini, good evening to all. Shout out to Twitch. The Twitch is popping off. Let's see if we get to 100 on Twitch. We're at 500 in the Discord right now. We're at 83 right now watching with us. I don't know where we're at with likes on the stream. So let's see if we can reach triple digits all the way around and reach 7K subscribers. But you mentioned the system and the 4, which is it interesting that metaphor breaks up and we're getting more prominence on the other 4. But if you Mustafa Ali versus Moose X Division match right there, and then you get the Good Hands versus Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards, I'll give you Alicia Edwards versus Tasha Steelz. Those two as a feud, I know you said that they're booked them almost the same, but maybe that is they are the mirror image. So let's fight out for who's going to be in this spot.
As like the dominant faction,
and they line up perfectly.
No,
that's the DNA connection.
Thinking about that makes sense, because you can use the fact that Mustafa Ali is a former X Division champion, and then
Right.
and then Tasha Steelz and Alicia Edwards somewhat kind of had a falling out, after the tag team titles were gone from them. So yeah, absolutely, and you can really have Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers feud with the Great Hands to kind of put them over. That's not a bad shout without any titles really being involved except with the X Division title. I actually like that.
Like I said, I see 100% what you were saying, and that's why I wasn't trying to downplay it. It was more of like, for me, it's you already got to there with the system. Just stop there, because that worked. But no, 100% of it depends on how much you want to push Ali. As we're getting during the break of Ace Austin getting taken out.
Yeah, Ace Austin being taken up. Oh, is this his way of getting in the Fatal 4-Way?
Actually, that's not a bad shot at all. Holy shit. It might be taped, but they're still listening to us live, folks.
yeah. As soon as I saw it, I was like, yeah, this is his way of getting in the Fatal 4-Way match.
Right.
Which we actually are about to have the start of that, which we know the 3 competitors. We got Matt Cardona coming out, and we got Mance Warner and Elijah all in this match. And we got to figure out if Ace Austin is going to be in it now too.
Yeah, well, who do you have in this match? And folks, let us know who you have in this match. Whether you've got Matt Cardona, whether you've got Mance Warner. I won't say Ace Austin because we don't know yet. Or do you have Elijah, which everyone... That's just Elias with a fancy hat.
Right. Absolutely. No, I agree with you. I don't know who am I at least I'm taking here. I'm gonna go oddball and say Mance Warner, because Mance Warner and Steve Macklin could have a feud, like a banger feud.
As literally we've got him coming out with Steph, and they were the breakout stars, I feel, of 2024. Especially on outside of the big 2, they were the breakout stars, especially Mans. Steph, you could say maybe was the year before. If you add a step to Mance versus Macklin, fucking that'll be match of the night on any pay-per-view you put it on, I feel, especially under siege right now with the card that they've got.
Oh no, absolutely. It looks like Ace Austin is coming out. But yeah, absolutely. I think if you put those two in the ring, they could really go, and it'd be one of those hard-hitting matches.
Now I do worry that we get Elijah, because Elijah has a lot of attention, because everyone remembers Who Wants to Walk with Elias or Elijah.
Yeah, this could be a way to get the international championship if he beats Steve Macklin. Just saying, on NXT television.
I will ask you this, and I'm going to take a pause for the cause here at the start of this match. But Cross has teased the Righteous showing up around him. We've already seen Elijah be around the Righteous. Could TNA be the ones to get the Righteous and you put them around Elijah? And that's now, we talked about it before. You get Elijah, Joe Hendry. That's the top of your card right now. That's what you built your show around here.
No, that's a great shout from what, as Nick takes his pause here. That's a great shout there. Having the Righteous join TNA wrestling. I like that. We do need a couple of more stables in TNA wrestling to kind of round out the roster here. So I agree. As Devin says, not gonna lie, man, I feel like people trash TNA too much. It's better than people think it is. Absolutely. TNA, and I'll die on a TNA heel, and I'll cheerlead for TNA, but TNA is very, very consistent. It's very, very consistent each and every week. There's a rarity where I feel like TNA hits like a 6 or a 5. It's very rare. TNA is very consistent each and every week, and I enjoy it. I definitely enjoy it. So stick around, because I've definitely got a few of my friends watching TNA, subscribing to the TNA Plus app, and watching it each and every week. As I see in the chat that Boston Gamer and MDB really don't like me tonight, and that's perfectly fine and okay. Um, but Brandon says, do we still get Killer Cross doing something with the White Six? Because I know before Bray died, that was the plan. I don't see that happening. I want Killer Cross to come out as a monster. Over the past couple of weeks, he's been doing some pretty cool things. That promo he had around WrestleMania was phenomenal. It reminded me of when The Miz kind of had that promo battle with Daniel Bryan on, I think it was SmackDown Talk or whatever, that after show after SmackDown. But taking it back to TNA just a tad bit, we do have the start of the Fatal 4-Way match. Ace Austin is in there. The other three competitors are Elijah, Matt Cardona, and Mance Warner. So pick in the chat, put in the chat who you think is winning this match. I'm going with Mance Warner, but I'm probably wrong because I can't predict anything with TNA at this point. But I'm taking Mance Warner. So let me know in the chat as we go to commercial break. Danielle says TNA wrestling on the CW by merging TNA Plus into the network app would be nice. I'm a stickler of TNA really kind of doing their own thing and not like being bought by WWE. I don't want that to happen. I don't want to see some type of merger between TNA and WWE. But TNA can find that TV deal, and TNA can soar, I feel like. And that's kind of what I'm waiting for. With TNA. TNA just needs that to strike that TV deal, and then we'll all be on the up and up with TNA. And as I said, TNA is currently on the commercial. So throw anything in the chat that you want to talk about, as TNA is still on commercial break here. So Wade, I thought JT asking Wade, I thought Steph liked PCO. Man, that whole thing with Steph and PCO was great. And then I believe they were trying to end the storyline because I think they officially got married, or the wedding was broken up by Matt Cardona. But I think they were trying to do something with it until PCO decided to step away from TNA and destroy the TNA Digital Media Championship belt on GCW TV, and they had to abruptly stop that storyline. I really do believe it was going to end on the TNA live episode after Genesis, and they just didn't go any further after that. That's a great shout for Danielle. TNA could go to FS1 or FS2. I agree there. Any type of big exposure for TNA on a decent sized network would be great. So I definitely like that there. Don says too much hate towards Anthony. Not Anthony, not nice at all. Still love you, Anthony. Thank you, Don. As you know, MDB in Boston hates me tonight, and that's perfectly fine. I don't care about those two. CM Anthony, what network do you think? And I think isn't this Nick, but I might be wrong because doesn't he go by CM Unk on Twitter? Anyway, Anthony, what network do you think TNA signs a deal with? I don't know. I hear they're in talks with several streaming services and networks alike. If there was a place I would put TNA on, Amazon Prime would be a wonderful place for TNA. Paramount Plus would be a great. Paramount Plus is somewhat of back in the day when it was Spike TV. Spike turned into Paramount Plus some years later, Paramount Network some years later, and I think all of those are kind of combined. So you can have that old relationship between Paramount and TNA. So Paramount Plus is a great place. On television, if they could work out something with having them on the USA network, that would be great. But NBC, WWE, SmackDown, I don't know if that could happen. I'm trying to think of any other network that would work for them. As we are back with TNA, we got Ace Austin and Matt Cardona in the ring. I'm trying to think of any other network that would work good for them. Streaming is so high at this point, over traditional cable, that hitting a streaming platform would be the best for TNA at this point. And you have to hit a popular streaming platform where people are not shelling out extra money. These people already have these streaming platforms. So that's kind of where I feel when it comes to that. We got, like I said, as NXT is back, or not NXT, but TNA is back on. Damien is asking, what do you want Aleister Black to feel with first after the feud with first? I think that's what you're trying to say. After the Miz, Carmelo Hayes. I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you guys. A little bit when it comes to WWE, I haven't been paying attention that much. Like, I haven't been finishing a lot of the episodes. So I know his first match was against The Miz. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, and he won. I don't know, honestly, right now, where you would put Aleister Black or who he feuds with next. So we'll see. MDB says, Anthony, if you watch a particular film, I would be nicer. Well, you can just be mean all the time, MDB, because it's not happening. As Mance Warner has control of this match at this point. Mance Warner is setting up Ace Austin in the corner on top of the turnbuckle, looking like it's going for a superplex here, with Elijah stopping it. So, that's interesting. Danielle says Gail Kim would be perfect on NXT's women's backstage producer if it finally ends up on Raw or SmackDown. Yeah, I like that. Gail Kim knows how to do things with any women's division. We've seen, what she's done with the Knockouts division. So Gail Kim is not a bad shout. Anthony, what do you think? Or what do you think about all the people who are being thrown around for the Money in the Bank? The only person I care about for the Money in the Bank is Naomi. That's how I feel. Naomi needs to walk out of Money in the Bank as Miss Money in the Bank. As Elijah went for a cover on Ace Austin with a kick out. Ooh. Okay, so if you're not watching TNA, what just happened was Matt Cardona was jumping off the top rope and Elijah hit him with a powerful knee. Like, and you heard that throughout the entire arena. Chris down here is asking, I gotta ask Anthony, can you squish a watermelon with? Okay, that took a turn. That took a turn, Chris. That really did. Don says Roku might be a good option for TNA. Just wish they were on a channel that was more widely available. Absolutely, that's the stickler move for TNA. They gotta find a channel that's in bunches and bunches of homes, right? Network TV is always the best, like ABC, NBC, CBS, the CW. Feel like I'm missing a network. Fox, that's the other one. On network television. Network television is widely available everywhere. And if you get on cable TV, you got to find the popular networks like USA. That's the only one that comes off the top of my head because I don't watch cable TV that much anymore. As I thought Elijah was about to win, but he hit like a tombstone on the chair to Mance Warner for a 2 count. I think that's it for Mance Warner at this point. He's rolling out the wing. But we got Matt Cardona and Elijah going for a pin 1-2 with Ace Austin breaking it up. But yeah, TNA has to find a network with that has the availability everywhere. And the only TV network that comes out the top of my head that's on cable TV is USA. There's a bunch of other networks out there, but I can't think of them because I don't watch cable TV that much anymore. I'm all on streaming and everything streaming. So as we got Nick coming back.
Speaking of streaming, you should be streaming us right now and everything.
Exactly, with a surprise turn of events.
Yeah. But I feel so. I saw a story going around today that allegedly, CW is trying to add more NXT programming to their cable block. Because honestly, who watched the CW? Who remembered the CW existed outside of if you watch like the Flash, Arrow, or now you watch NXT? As Cardona got the win. On Ace Austin.
Got the win. He was not expecting that, and I don't know how I feel about
that. I don't hate that though. That's the thing I don't hate that because Matt Cardona versus Steve Macklin again, fantastic match. Like, literally everyone has a great match with Macklin outside of maybe Ace Austin.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I do think Mance Warner versus Steve Macklin would slap too, but that could be something they save down the line too. So that I could be patient and wait on that. Yeah, you can have that match at Slammiversary. That's a match right there.
Or you go straight GCW. You go Cardona versus Mance Warner, and they fight over whether she's Queen of the Death match under Matt Cardona is Steph, or is she your wife? Where does her allegiance lie?
Right. Yeah. Where does her allegiance lie? That's a good one. Yeah. When it comes to what you were saying about the CW, though, yeah, CW has gone downhill in years, really since the Arrowverse started to taper off, and then I believe they actually sold the network to someone else. It's not owned by CBS anymore. Yeah, so nobody really watches the CW that much at all.
Well, we watch it because we watch NXT, and that's why I was trying to say maybe you get TNA on the CW on Thursdays.
I'll be down for that. Now, I'm not against
you get back-to-back nights of wrestling on the CW network. Does CW say, hey, there might be something to this wrestling business, and maybe we double down. If we're going to add TNA, extracurricular activities, well, half of TNA shows up on, or NXT shows up on TNA. So there you go.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That could be something that works out with TNA being on there. It seems like CW is very happy with NXT, and they said it's been a game changer for them. So yeah, I mean, that's a place where they can look for TNA too, and maybe they can even push TNA into potentially going live each week.
Oh, bold strategy, Cotton. But Alan, I see you, Foxy, Dale OG, what up? John C, how do TV deals work? Because I don't know why channels like A&E has a lot of WWE shows, but A&E is in very little options. Money to the highest bidder, essentially, of whoever's going to pay the most for these rights deals or anything, you get it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, A&E is not widely everywhere. I actually use a friend's login to a different
I can
TV
only watch it on the
service.
app.
Yeah, I have to watch it live, to watch LFG and stuff live. I have to use a friend's login to actually watch it live on another streaming service.
Fair enough, but we are on a commercial break and we've been through a few, and I know I teased earlier and said I wanted to talk to you about it during a commercial break. How do you feel? Trick Williams, Joe Hendry, I know you were here for NXT. You saw the contract signing and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Next week, we're getting dual concerts here, a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll, a little bit hip hop, all of that. How do you feel, and how do you feel that that's on Battleground and not on Under Siege or TNA?
For me, it's not like a good or bad decision that it's on
Mm-hmm.
NXT. I think I was about to say it gives TNA more exposure being on Battleground,
Mm-hmm.
but at this point, TNA has been exposed with the partnership, right?
Expose him. Expose him.
Right. I think it would benefit more if it was on Under Siege just a tad bit, because you can get those people from NXT to watch Under Siege, to see if Trick Williams actually takes the title. But I do like the setup where you have the tag team match happening at Under Siege that can have serious implications to what happens at Battleground. I actually like that a little bit more too.
I didn't mean to fucking segue into this, but they goddamn segued me into this. Of Zonify and TNA present Canada versus USA. Me and Anthony versus KJ Border Brawl, featuring stars of TNA, Sunday, May 25th, 5 p.m. at Niagara Falls, Ontario. They have invited the Prime Minister of Canada and the Commander-in-Chief, Donald Trump, all of that, to attend. So, yes, Intera fucking Sante.
So it's true that they invited those two?
It wasn't TNA, it was the other company that's putting it on that invited them, because it is literally built to be USA versus Canada type of thing. It's literally on the goddamn border as Ariana Grace gets sparked out by Tessa Blanchard. But back to what we were talking about, I feel Joe Hendry versus Trick Williams should be a TNA match. That should be on Under Siege. That should be a TNA pay-per-view. It's for the TNA title. You're bringing in the star of Trick Williams. Cool, that's great, but it gives the attention there. I think you could do, instead of doing both little mini concerts on one show, say next week, the go-home show, you have Trick do his concert on Thursday, Joe do his on Tuesday, what have you. Anything like that. I would like to see that more as the featurette, like the main feature on Under Siege versus third act on Battleground.
I mean, I get your point there, and that makes sense. Because you still have like the NXT title on the line. You got the NXT
If
women's
if
title
the
on the
TNA
line.
title is going to change hands, make it matter.
Right. So I get you there, it being more on TNA's programming, and I can agree with you there. Absolutely, it should be a TNA match, should be something we see at Under Siege. It could have even been something where you could have saved it for Against All Odds, which is just 2 weeks later, if you wanted to do that. So I get you. I'm not gonna fight you on that one. I get you.
Are you going to fight me on First Class here? AC Navarro, AJ Francis.
I don't know. I know. Is his name O'Shea Jackson? It's supposed to be a
O'Shea
part of this.
Jackson Jr. Is he there?
Yeah. I think he's supposed to be a part of this.
Has he even said? Well, it was rebellion. It was rebellion, and he was part of the kickoff show and everything. Like O'Shea Jackson Jr., Little Cube, Crushed Ice instead of Ice Cube, is very much an actual wrestling fan. Like has his own podcast, I believe, under the Rich Eisen Network and everything. Like is interested in pro wrestling, which we need to embrace as wrestling fans instead of shun away, the non-believers, the non-hardcores.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe Rebellion was his first TNA show. I think he said it was his first TNA show
Yeah,
ever.
because he was on the pre-show with Busted Open.
So it just shows that he's trying to grow his horizon a little bit and watch other programs. I know he's very, very heavily critical of AEW, which is funny.
Critical or honest? Like
he might be honest. He might
be honest. It's just,
yeah, he's probably just honest. Other people will probably think it's critical
shit.
But yeah, he's just honest of how he feels about AEW, and a lot of the things he says is not wrong. We can definitely agree there.
That's a whole other conversation, but I see why they're doing the TNA World Championship on a WWE PLE. It's exposure. You can pump it up. As it's the first time the TNA title has been defended on a WWE PLE. Oh wait, I'm probably wrong with that. Did fucking Mickie James defend something at some point that I'm probably wrong with saying that? But
no, she just showed up in the Royal Rumble.
Fair enough. Well, I didn't know. Did Jordan Grace defend something at some point? Then I'm also wrong there. But it's a huge match. Yeah, now we're getting O'Shea Jackson brought out here as he's part of First Class, I guess. So
looks like he's officially a part of First Class.
AJ Francis just comes out here. He looks like he's the weird uncle. Like, look at my nephew. Hey, even O'Shea's just shoving him off. O'Shea's about to turn face on these motherfuckers.
With the sunglasses on, he looks like Uncle Phil from the Fresh Prince.
How come nobody want me, man? Carlton or what's his name? Goddamn Butler. Anyways, I'm glad that I don't remember it, but breakout Lucille. To where he all of a sudden turns into fucking Pool Shark and just lights motherfuckers up.
Yeah.
Jeffrey. God damn it. I don't come to your movie sets to tell you how to.
Are you gonna let me say whatever I want on my show? All right, Mr. Francis.
He's about to go he's literally about to hit him with the crushed ice out here. He's about to go from half a cube to full cube to crushed ice.
Yeah.
O'Shea got to swing on this man.
Oh.
It's so crazy. And I mean, he is a fucking actor and everything. And I'm not trying to put the man over, but he had O'Shea Jackson Jr. He built to be in this wrestling shit. He gets the timing and everything.
He does
the audience cues and all that.
Yeah,
that's how you know when it's a fan of. They know they've been here. Who the fuck is this?
Is Mike Santana about to come out?
Oh, somebody gonna get hurt real bad.
He does. They got a little history now over the past couple.
What in the fucking Batman Santana? Puerto Rican Batman, Mike Santana out here.
Puerto Rican Batman.
But no, they literally I'll give them credit. They did the hook spotlight better than the hook spotlight. Oh, is that there? Which way does he go? Where is he coming from? Da, da, da. Here comes Mike Santana, Blade Mike Santana, Daredevil coming out here in the trench coat out of the balconies.
Yeah, as he charges towards all three of them up at the stage there.
2, 1.5 tops.
1.5.
O'Shea's already sided with Santana here. See, he already tapped him up.
As what happened to the other two, the AJ Francis and Casey
No,
Nevada?
they cut down as fast as they could.
They don't want anything to do with AJ Friend. I mean
Mike Santana. I wouldn't
Mike
either.
Santana. I can't get names right tonight. Mike Santana.
Fair enough. I hate to tell you, bro, but you're a little blurry.
I'm a little blurry.
There you
All
go.
Right. Nope.
Nope,
Somewhat.
you're not coming back to us.
I don't think I'm coming back. Come on.
Mauricio Batman, yes.
There we go. It cleared up.
There we go. Man came back to us in 8K instead of just 4K. Mike Santana is Mark Sanchez. No butt fumble here. No butt fumble.
As we got the debut of Indy Hartwell, which I'm excited for. Let's see.
And we've seen some of, Elena Black, formerly known as Cora Jade. Priscilla, not Gigi. What did is it Priscilla Kelly?
Yes, Priscilla
Yeah,
Kelly.
thank you. That she's taking on Zachary Wentz. Like now we're moving to the recent release women's roster that may be starting to get up for grabs, or is at least signing, dates into June, July, and all of that. Do you think any get signed up by TNA, and if so, who?
One person that comes right to mind to sign with TNA is Corey J, she's Elena Black now, I think.
Yes.
That's one person I can see immediately potentially going to TNA.
But the subscribers, but the OFs, but my guy, everyone's gonna crash out that she signs over there, and she can't fulfill her memberships.
Exactly. They'll have a crash out moment on Twitter, but she's one. Sonya Deville is one I could see. She's already working with the Invicta. I think it's Invicta, the MMA company that Anthem owns. She's already somewhere working with him, so she's another one that can show up. Definitely.
Would she work backstage, or would she be in ring? As by the way, we have Indy Hartwell versus, I swear to God, until they announced her name, I thought it was Elektra Lopez. But it's if you took Elektra Lopez and Thea Hale and made a hybrid and they were a jobber, that is who Indy's taking on. But does Sonya do more backstage, more GM role like she had before a little bit? Is she moved past in ring and she agents, she coaches, what have yous?
One thing she did say is, from what I'm hearing from interviews, is that she's open to doing backstage roles with any company. So ruling out backstage is not a bad shout. I really think she could do something backstage. She says she's open to about anything, wrestling. She's even open to going back to MMA. And TNA, not TNA, but Anthem can give her that opportunity. She can be in TNA, and she can be in Invicta, and she can do producing work. So
I don't know. That's a bad look. CM Punk tried this shit. I get it. Shotzi's been there a little bit before, but it's been a hot minute. Like Shayna, I would believe a little bit could maybe make that jump more. I still wouldn't put my money on Shayna if she popped into a UFC octagon right now. I feel like she might get the 2-piece with the soda on the side.
If she does decide to go back to MMA, she'll probably have to do a little bit of training before she just jumps back in, because it definitely didn't work for CM Punk. He tried, he failed, and he moved on.
That's why I think she might be better suited backstage, doing anything, being an agent. We've seen that with Joseph Parks, Abyss, with Petey Williams, that have gone to, as Indy gets the win. Oh, that's a rough shot with most of the empty seats. But we've seen people from TNA that were veterans move to doing a backstage role. I think Shayna, Sonya could do that. Shayna's, I guess that might have been a Freudian slip. Maybe she does that. I could see her still AW Hurt Syndicate of, the Death Riders. I know they just added Gabe Kidd. Maybe she's the counter to Marina, but yeah, Tony loves his good fighting women.
No, he does. He does. You're exactly right about that. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see over the next couple of months where some of these some of the women's talent that was just released land.
Right? As we're advertising, we still got to come of Nemeth versus Jeff Hardy, but we do have still Kazarian will address Under Siege. We still have Rosemary versus Zaya Brookside, I believe. We got that match. And
Yeah,
then,
which
yes,
we
we
got.
have.
Yeah, that match actually is coming up next, the Rosemary and Zaya Brookside match.
There you go. As we are in commercial break again here, so you are good, sir, whenever you choose to. JT, what's everybody's first match and the match that made you fall in love with wrestling? Holy shit, fuck, to unpack that question right now. Anthony, you got a brief answer?
What's everybody's first match and the match that made you fall in love with wrestling? I don't know if I can remember my first match. I can remember telling you who was the person that made me fall in love with wrestling. I was The Undertaker. I think the moment, and it wasn't particularly a match. My earliest wrestling memory is when I believe The Undertaker came out on a white horse. Can't tell you what pay-per-view it was,
What the fuck?
but it was Kurt Angle in the ring, and he lifted his hands up, and lightning came down and struck the ring, and the ring collapsed with Kurt Angle in the middle of the ring.
How much Robitussin were you on, my guy?
That was the moment that got me. It's a true reality. It's on YouTube. I can't remember if it's a white horse, but he came out. I don't know if he was actually on the horse or the horse was dragging something behind
a white
him.
Horse, and his rider, his name was Death.
But that was the moment that I fell in love with wrestling and really fell in love with Taker. That's
fair enough. Well, you go and research and find that clip, and you send that to me and let me know that that's a real thing. It wasn't a fever-induced hallucination.
I am. I'm gonna
you
find
didn't
that
kick through the mushroom patch too much. Yeah. But Christ, Anthony's taking a pause for the cause. As yes, I'm in commercial break. Of if I had to go to my big bang, I guess, when it comes to wrestling. I don't know if I would say it's my favorite match, my first match, anything, but if I try and go back the farthest I can as far as being a fan of wrestling, it's my first kind of memory of literally riding my bike from my house to the local corner store, which was also a gas station and all of that. And yeah, I'm 36 going on 37, so very much late millennial. So I very much get, when you would go into one of those all shops and they got VHSs, which kids Google it if you don't remember what a VHS is. But rented a copy of WrestleMania 6 in the Skydome in Toronto, main event Warrior versus Hogan. And that main event is still, again, I know now everything involved around it and everything. But at the time, that is still to me, if the furthest my brain can go back to watching wrestling is that just being the explosion of what is pro wrestling, and then honestly being, dare I say, obsessed with it past that, of just being always interested of it. It's a violent fucking show that's always goddamn live and everything, of even when you have the fall off periods of like you had the really rough ruthless aggressions and all of that. As we got 3 of the 4 out here. Tasha Steele's giving us an announcement as any in the background, but yeah, that's really when my wrestling fandom blossomed, and then again it just continues to bloom. That got poetic that I didn't want it to. Been watching since 1980. Fair enough, AB. I haven't been alive since 1980, so you got me on lifespan. Foxy, what up? Wesley, right after the World Heavyweight Championship match between Kurt Angle and Mark Henry is when the thing Anthony was talking about. Fair enough. Someone prove that to me. Our socials are scrolling by and everything. Someone send me a source video of that. Just put the video in the group chat, Royal Rumble 2006. There you go. I've been watching it longer than that, though, but that's literally the one I know. And again, fair enough. I still, like I said, my brain goes back far enough to Hogan Warrior WrestleMania 6 IC belt versus World Heavyweight title. I know that I was watching wrestling before that. Like, I can't even tell you where my brain loyalty was, what have you, or how many pay-per-views I rented, VHSs I rented, all of that. But yeah, no. That's just, everyone has that kind of big bang. And it's still, there is something about it, whether you stayed with it the whole through or you came and went and all of that. There is a thing that compels you back to it. It's the same. Pro wrestling was the MCU before the MCU was ever the fucking MCU. I'll put it that way. Pro wrestling is bigger than life characters come to goddamn life, and you get behind them, and you love it, you hate it, you get involved, you see yourself in one character, you see you're the opposite of yourself, you despise another character. There's just so much in pro wrestling to, like, there is something for everyone, as I'm out here doing the goddamn sales pitch for pro wrestling as a whole. But yeah, it is the buffet of entertainment. As Xia Brookside versus Rosemary right now, let me know who you're taking, folks. And I'll say it. Why is it Rosemary? Does Rosemary, Anthony, you need to stop being so smart, as they're literally hyping up Invicta FC 62 as Xia Brookside coming out here, as Rosemary's been trying to convert Xia to the Brookside. Xia to the dark side, the Brookside to the dark side. She's tried to make her Julia Hart here. But Rosemary also, like, the OG, triple OG veteran when it comes to TNA now here. Put Austin Powers in your group chat. MDB, goddamn. Let's not act like we don't quote that cell at least probably at minimum once a stream. I watched it twice. Anthony, fair enough. Jake the Snake Roberts. Fair, he's your first guy. Yeah, I mean, Christ, I know it. Rosemary, I mean, the spooky shit. That man with the sign just trying to holler out a job application. But yeah, you got into, to me, going into that 90 or well, that 80s kind of era of wrestling is when you got into the Takers, the Bret Harts, the HBKs. Like, yeah, there's fucking judgmental bullshit anyways. Yeah. Ken, what up? JT is taking Rosemary. Dr. Rose, Bad News, Brown, Junkyard Dog, Coco Beware, Too Cold Scorpio. Yeah, well, and that's the thing, though, is everybody has a starting point, and then where do you expound from that? Everybody has their archway, their pathway here. Christ, even just on the channel of I went the more hardcore the hardcore route and the British strong style route and everything. I know KJ for a fact went more the lucha route and everything. Anthony very much went, TNA, route, went beyond that. So everybody finds what works with them in pro wrestling. I think that's why pro wrestling works so well, because it covers so many areas of literally. KJ's a fucking lucha guy. I am a strong style guy. We can still talk about each other's sides, both backwards and frontwards and all that. As Rosemary's got the brass knuckles, which has been the controversy of the past couple, or the last tag match they had. As arm bars, glitching a little bit, but wrestling has a lot of flavors. Absolutely. And again, that's what we aim to be. Of we're the Wrestling for Life Network with the hashtag WFU. Can I find? Is the slide there? Maybe, maybe not. But yes, we are the hashtag WFU. Absolutely. The slide isn't there, but absolutely. We are 100% the antithesis of we'd rather just have the open discussion again. Like I said, everybody here watches wrestling from different strokes, and it's all for different folks and all that. But as long as we can have an open discussion and come to an open agreement on what is pro wrestling and what is not, and hear all sides and have that open dialogue, that's way better than a lot of other channels, a lot of other fucking apps, I'll say, or Twitters and all of that. Yeah. Of we welcome the discussion as Zaya with a big clothesline on a Rosemary. Dawn, aka I used to watch AWA in the 80s. Well, I've also gone back to Zaya working over Rosemary here, but it's even once you start to get into it, you start to go back to the histories. You start to find different avenues and different interests of, again, let me know what you think is your unique interest when it comes to pro wrestling, whether it's in the chat, whether it's in the comments, as I with a 2 count on Rosemary. But did you get into pro wrestling and then you became a big fan of Japanese wrestling? Did you become a big fan of women's wrestling? Are you really big into, I don't know, deathmatch stipulation wrestling? All that. Like, did you get into wrestling and then go really back hard into like the territories, like the Mid South days and OVW, or OVW's not even that old, but are you a big NWA follower? As Sias just plucking the brass knuckles off Rosemary headbutt. Lennon, shout out to the Von Erichs. Yeah, absolutely. Christ, my wife actually enjoyed that movie. Boston, what up? Dale, what up? Everybody's saying hi to Kevin. Hi, Kevin. MVP, yeah, got out. Everybody, Dawn. And WWE as a producer, huh? Didn't watch AWA as much. All I will say is wrestling has come so far in the past 40 plus years. Absolutely. You're gonna say hi to me. Well, god damn it, I'll say hi again. Oh, Rosemary was going for the nest, and Zion Brookside hit it with the kata. No, it's not the kata she made. It's just the double judo throat chop there. So Rosemary had to swallow. She shoved the referee. That should be a disqualification. Yes, so there we go. Thank you. Hey, it's amazing when a wrestling company actually follows the fucking rules of pro wrestling. Now we've got both women just throwing at each other. But Zia Brookside shoved the referee, thus should equal a disqualification in a singles match. And that's what happened is now Zia Lee, Zhang Wei Lee, Kung Lao out here. Yeah, we're probably under siege about to get Zia Lee versus Rosemary. Maybe a tag match, Zia Lee and Zia Brookside. All the Zias versus Rosemary, and maybe that's where Jessica Havoc could show up. But so Zia Brookside wins the match, or no, Rosemary actually wins the match by disqualification, as we're getting an injury report presented by Bioflex as we're replaying the dog collar match from last week. I like Zia Lee. I don't think she's bad. I think there are some people, we've seen it with certain people in TNA, of they're almost better suited outside of the WWE. Like, honestly, Mustafa Ali has been significantly better outside of the WWE than anything he's done in WWE. Same thing with Steve Macklin, who we were just getting an injury report on. DQ finish, A Johnson facts. Can Nick, everyone talks about Flair and Race as great champs. Why doesn't Nick Bockwinkel get as much love? I mean, attention, draw. That's really what it is. I mean, Hey, I got this guy, Ric Flair, as my champion. You know who I got as my champion? Nick Bockwinkel. A little bit harder to sell a Bockwinkel versus a Flair. I think that's a bit it. And it's still, you do have to put some credit and some respect on Flair and Harley's talent in ring and just wrestling acumen. They are two of the greatest to ever do it. I wish I saw, I can't remember who it was that asked Ric Flair who was on his Mount Rushmore. I saw it like earlier this week, and I wish I could remember the names, but I think the first one that he mentioned was the HBK, but that's interesting. That's like asking Jordan who's on your Mount Rushmore of basketball players. Vote for Zaya. Well, she lost, actually. She lost. She technically lost. They should bring back Inferno matches. No, don't. The Inferno match worked one time, maybe two. After the third, nah, you can have that. It became too much of a gimmick. It's the same thing with like a blindfold match, what have you. There's certain gimmicks that maybe work once, twice at best, and then you just leave them alone. And the Inferno match is definitely one of them. Yeah, Ronan. Yeah, Inferno match for NXT Halloween Havoc. Who would be an Inferno match? Who? You want to know why the first Inferno match worked? Because Kane had the covered up sleeve at that point. So you could put all the fucking fire safe petroleum jelly and all of that shit on it. So you could work it over. And he would have the sleeve that's not going to just be bare skin out there to get burned. There's no one out there that, what are you going to do? Of Jada Parker's her split legged singlet, she just gets one thigh out there roasted like a ham hock. The fuck are we doing? No. The Inferno match worked once, will maybe twice. I think they did it all of 3 times. Will never work again. Yeah. It's the same. It's like a scaffold match right now. A scaffold match will not work in pro wrestling in 2025. Not no way, not no how. Doesn't work. John C. Vince started the modern day pro wrestling, and Eric Bischoff made pro wrestling better for the best wrestlers, and he made it more marketable to a lot more businesses. I mean, bold strategy, Cotton. Are you sure you're not Eric Bischoff in disguise there, John? I think both sides kind of reached, scratched each other's backs when it came to that. I don't think it was one-sided. I'll say that. TLC matches will never get old for me. Well, because they keep them few and far between. That's the thing now. WWE really works with all of their stipulations because they keep them, for the most part, and now that they've moved away from pay-per-views based around stipulations, they've kept them meaningful and few and far between, I will say. As I'm getting a replay of the contract signing between Joe Hendry and Trick Williams. So again, folks, let me know who you're taking. Christ, let me know ahead of time who you got, whether you got Joe Hendry or Trick Williams, as we're here live next week for NXT. We're going to get a live Joe Hendry concert and a rap performance by Trick. And I feel like you could have done one-on-one show, done one on Impact, and done one on TNA, or on NXT. As we've got Santino arguing backstage. Got that one. Triple H versus Stone Cold in 2001. What? Oh, the last 3 stages of Hell match. Oh, there you go. Oh, Robert Stone again. Hannah Grace is still the tallest person out here. And why isn't she some sort of fucking Christ almighty? That's what we're about to get. We're about to get Santino and Ariana versus Robert Stone and Victoria Crawford. Book it now. Jot it down. We've seen this much involvement. If we're going to see them in ring, we're going to get that match at some point here. But yes, folks, as we've got, where is he? I got the slide. We got Frankie Kazarian, the somehow younger, slimmer, fitter Chris Jericho, but still all of the don't give a fuck about him coming out right now. Takara, yo, what up? Yeah, you gonna pretend to threaten me this time now, bud? The ultimate championship I quit match. Foxy, what up? Yeah, that's, respectfully, I get Kaz, but at this point, has the ship jumped the shark here? Or has the shark jumped the ship? Which way does it go here? I don't know if I'm compelled anymore about anything with Frankie Kazarian. Like he is just Mr. Irrelevant a little bit to me, respectfully. And I get he's talented. And I get that they want to put him in this prominent spotlight. Like we're about to get like him involved at Under Siege. We just had him and the Nemeth brothers beat the Hardys. Yeah, we're about to Under Siege. We're gonna get Joe Hendry and Elijah versus Trick and Kazarian. So we're gonna get him involved, and he stays in the main event scene. But I wish he was less seen and less heard. I guess. Scott saying, "I love Frankie, great guy. I'm not shiting on the guy. It's just to me, it's the character. I'm over it. Like I don't care anymore." He is very much, he is in that Chris Jericho arc of you just like Chris Jericho is the worst example of that type of thing, but it's one of those of how can I give a shit about you? How can I miss you if you don't go away? And please, for the love of God, go away. Yeah, he's cutting a promo right now, and he just looks, you're getting literal mild booze. You're getting, this is like softball dad, baseball dad energy. This is a guy who's in his late 50s, early 60s, who still listens to Motley Crue, Alice in Chains, fucking, I'm trying to think of other, Bon Jovi, I'm trying to think of other hair metal bands, what have you, and still thinks they're the greatest music acts to ever exist. As he introduces Trick right now. And not for nothing with Trick. Trick comes out here and he feels 10 levels the star that Frankie Kazarian is. So 100%, this feels like we're just using Kazarian as a pathway to Trick versus Joe Hendry, which, I mean, we should be, but I don't give a shit about Kazarian in any of this. Favorite heel, mine is Edge and Randy. Favorite heel of all time? Oh, that's bold. That's a long-ass question. That's a members-only stream question. Big Nick, I believe Vince was comfortable doing things the same way over and over again until Eric lit fire in his butt, literally with the NWO Nitro. Yes, that's fine. But to say that Vince and Co. did not adjust and did not pivot, it is doing a disservice to wrestling history. Absolutely, I would say. Of 100%, I think there's been multiple times, whether it's Heyman in ECW, whether it's Bischoff in WCW, Christ, you could even say right now a bit. Well, Christ, even honestly, whether it's TK with AEW, whether it's TNA right now with Anthem, when it was TNA with Scott D'Amore, you get those moments to where somebody comes out in the blue and just kind of rocks pro wrestling on his fucking chin and says, "Allow me to reintroduce myself," and puts everybody a bit on notice. And speaking of allow me to reintroduce myself,
I think that was a good segue.
Under a different name, but yes.
That was a really good segue right there.
Yeah.
As it seems like I came back on the right time with Joe Hendry and Trick Williams in their face-off.
I didn't even say your name and you appeared, sir. But yes, how do you? So John's saying, as I've got Joe Hendry coming out. Well, quickly, how do you feel about Kazarian?
Well, I'm happy Kazarian is not world champ. I'm happy that Call Your Shot Gauntlet trophy is out the picture. He's annoying. He's an annoying heel, and I think that's why I dislike him. And that's one of those times where you can say he's technically doing his job as a heel because he's very annoying.
Is he just not less Canadian Chris Jericho?
The difference is Kazarian can still go in the ring.
Vaguely.
He can still go in the ring a little bit. Chris Jericho just needs to go.
But we've got all four compadres of the tag match coming out here. Can we call Elijah and Joe Hendry? Are they rhythm and blues? Rhythm and blues.
I like that.
Yeah.
Rhythm and blues. That yeah.
Well, no, we gotta go the current Detroit Lions backfield there, rhythm and blues.
I like that. That's nice. I like that.
Yeah, I can't wait until they use it in 2 weeks and then don't give us any sort of credit.
Like Hank and Tank.
Yeah, exactly. I want my royalties, honey. John, hey, I don't know who I gotta talk to. I'll speak to the naval in charge.
But I want it. I want my
I want my 10%.
As Santino comes out here, it looks like he's about to change something, and Robert Stone is gonna dislike it.
This has gone on long enough. Oh, this match was scheduled for the siege tonight.
Tonight?
Yo.
Yeah, here goes Robert Stone.
Right, Anthony.
Like,
you have no authority here, Robert Stone.
That's exactly what
you Stone Pebble Man. You have no authority here. See, I can do Santino's whole promo for him. You have no authority here,
right.
Pebble Man. I am the deputy chief, your authoritative figure here.
No,
seriously though, why? How has Santana been castrated through no announcement? Just had this little prick in a pink suit show up and just act like he's in charge, and they just allow it.
I don't know. Like this was just kind of brought up all of a sudden, literally all of a sudden. It's kind of wild. Well, he said
I have a badge, but I have a badge.
He said something about a suitable replacement for the four of them. I'm confused.
As we all are.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check what the Twitterverse is saying about that because I don't know what happened there.
Right. Yeah, so NXT, we're getting a Joe Hendry concert and a Trick Williams wrap off. Now, I said this before, if you were going to have this match on a TNA pay-per-view, which I feel like you should have, seeing how it's the TNA championship and it puts a big spotlight, you have Trick Williams on your show, main event, you do one concert on one show, one rap performance, what have you, on another.
Oh yeah, I think that's perfectly suitable if it was on a TNA show because you could. And I think you said this earlier that NXT could have Trick on Tuesday and then on Thursday it's in turn Joe Hendry and then you have the big match at Under Siege the next night, which is Friday. So yeah, you definitely could run that and it worked very well too.
Right. Well, and I'll ask the chat as well as I see Foxy and Ronan and everybody in Boston and Scott. How are you feeling going into Under Siege? It is a Friday show. It is not a Saturday, Sunday PLE per se. It is Friday, toe-to-toe, I told you so, with SmackDown. Could it have replaced the Thursday show? What have you?
So when it comes to Under Siege, at least this year, and TNA literally delivers on all their monthly specials and pay-per-views. They try their best to outdo. Under Siege, I'm not super excited for, but I also wasn't super excited for Unbreakable, and it turned out to be, it wasn't the best, but it turns out to be better than I expected. So I'm hoping going into Under Siege that they kind of pick up the pace. The matches announced so far, I'm not really a fan of. Like I said earlier, I like Victoria Crawford, but her versus
Mhm.
Masha, it is what it is there.
The
The tag
Thursday.
team match with Trick Williams and Joe Hendry, it has just implications leading into Sunday's match. Cody Deaner versus Eddie Edwards. If given time, Eddie Edwards, I feel like is a solid wrestler. He just doesn't have the best character. Given time, Cody Deaner and Eddie Edwards could, steal the show. I don't know how if Matt Cardona versus Steve Mackin is announced for Under Siege, but that can light a
Mm.
fire for the card. And then one match I am actually excited for. It's for the TNA World Tag Team Championships. The Nimitz take on Matt Hardy and Leon Slater. Obviously, Matt Hardy and Leon are not winning, but I think just having the four of them in the same ring together will be interesting. So the match card doesn't give the hype that a TNA special usually would do, but I'm going in there optimistic because the majority of the time they deliver with their pay-per-views. I can't remember in recent history where they just had a sucky show and I was like, this is terrible.
But could this just be average? I mean, could this very much sounds respectfully, and we will be here live watching it. But it sounds like this is a Thursday versus a Friday.
When it comes to the match card, absolutely. This is I would put this match card on a TNA live episode. That's kind of how I see it. Um, so like I said, I'm not shooting the card or anything like that, but it's not strong enough at this point. But I do know at the last minute, and they did this with Final Resolution, because I was there live. Final Resolution, that card was like, ooh, I don't know how this is gonna work out. And within a week's span, they twisted that real
Oh.
quick into something spectacular.
And well, we just saw it a bit with Rebellion as we're getting a replay of Sabu and RVD from TNA, which you forget how long of a run Sabu was involved in TNA.
Right, right.
Oh, um, but oh, yeah, why not Jeff? Well, we've got Jeff tonight. We've got still that coming up of the last 20 minutes of the show of do because Jeff's not allowed in Canada.
Absolutely.
Spoiler alert. So we're gonna get Matt Hardy and Leon Slater. They let the cat out of the bag versus the Nemeth brothers, which I know you said pretty much means they're not winning because Jeff's not there.
Right.
Do they win and then just Leon just hands the belt over to Jeff?
That could be something
That's
that
awkward as
happens.
shit, but yeah.
That's awkward, but could be something that happens. I do believe Leon Slater is the one to dethrone Moose for that X Division title. I fully believe they're setting him up for that run. But that could happen. They can give him a little taste to go and be like, okay, I'm just gonna hand this over to you, Jeff. But literally looking at the match card for Under Siege, there's literally only 4 matches announced. And this is
Okay.
late in the game for TNA.
We got a week. We got a
We
week.
got a week. Yeah, we got a week.
Could we get Leon Slater, Mustafa Ali, Moose at some point? X Division title match. Are we going through a whole match of Sabu and RVD right now as we get a tornado DDT onto a chair?
Probably
We got
so.
20 minutes left of the show. Are we going through a whole match?
TNA's kind of good with that. They'll do something like this. So
Well, we don't have Overrun. This isn't AW. We can have 57 people show up in a cage to announce Anarchy Arena and get all clusterfucked inside the side and everything.
That was hot garbage. Or as my friend would say, that was booty juice, because I don't know what they were doing at the end.
Can I quote Joe Budden real quick of that was a 2-pack of ass. That was a 2-pack of ass. I don't get what Gabe Kidd is doing there. I really hope to fuck Gabe Kidd is not involved with the Death Riders outside of a one-off, because Gabe Kidd is a fucking special talent, and it's stupid if New Japan let him go or let him slide. And to put, if you are AW and you got him and you put him with the Death Riders, unless he's about to become your next biggest fucking star, which Congratulations, you gave them the biggest fucking anchor to climb over. And this is just a one-off. Like none of that I liked. None of it was good.
Yeah, it felt overbooked, that ending, and it felt rushed. It was like, let's get all these people out here just to announce anarchy in the arena. That's kind of how that felt last night.
But why? I hate that, as we got Sabu or RVD picking up the win on Sabu, and this is the same thing across any company, whether it be a Survivor Series, an Elimination Chamber, whatever stipulation. With this one, it's Anarchy in the Arena Stadium Stampede. When you're shoehorning groups and factions and stories and everything, I said it this year for the Survivor Series, for the Women's Survivor Series match.
Yeah,
it felt forced. It felt pushed just because you needed to fit that stipulation. That's when you get into the worst situation of booking, because you're booking around a stipulation versus booking around a story.
yeah, no, absolutely. I know we, me, you, and KJ heavily talked about that Survivor Series women's War Games match, that it was all just done within a matter of weeks, and really what they did was put the heels and the faces together that were feuding in separate feuds and threw them in the cage and was like, hey, this is your women's War Games match.
Hey,
And
this is your Anarchy in the Arena match, and we just watched that last night.
Exactly. That's exactly how it was thrown together last night for Anarchy in the Arena. So yeah, I get it. When like you said, when you shoehorn people together just to get a match on a card, it's not good. It's the match could turn out to be good. Now, I haven't seen an Anarchy in the Arena match. I haven't seen the previous ones. I don't plan on seeing the previous ones. The first one I'm going to watch is the one next Sunday. But the women's War Games match, like when the actual War Games match started, when the bell rang, it got interesting, and it picked up. Now, before the bell rang, I don't know what they was doing.
You need context to go in. You can't go into this raw dog in it. You can't go into this blind. You will be doing yourself.
So I need to at least go watch one.
You need to probably learn the analog, the history, the lore here, because yeah, it is. It at times it gets sideways and everything, and it's just, to me, we saw it. And again, for anyone out there that thinks, oh, well, we just bashed the out of this company or bashed the hell out of that company or anything, WWE for the longest time had the issue of, you had Hell in a Cell pay-per-views, you had the Elimination Chamber pay-per-views and everything. You had pay-per-views built around stipulations versus matches that fit the stipulation. We saw that recently this past year when CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre fit Hell in a Cell versus when you try and make a feud fit a Hell in a Cell. Yeah. So this has been a thing and been an issue at times of when you try and make a feud fit a stipulation just because it's that time of year again.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like it's like the matches or the feud should lead up to that big stipulation match, and that's what we're seeing now a little bit with WWE, like you mentioned, with Punk and Drew McIntyre and things of that sort. And like you saw, which this was more of VKM, because I don't think Triple H was in charge there. But when Cody Rhodes came back and they had those 3 matches, and that last one was in the Hell in a Cell. Granted, it was on the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, but their feud kind of deserved that Hell in a Cell payoff. But yeah, that's kind of
a match that lives in channel lore, because KJ denied the purple peck for the longest time.
Thought it was makeup.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, again, feuds build stipulations. Stipulations don't build feuds. That's where it really boils down to.
Right.
The story builds to what happens around it, what needs to happen to accommodate the story. You shouldn't be trying to build a story to accommodate circumstances, to accommodate a stipulation.
No, absolutely. And and Wesley here is telling me that I can watch the Anarchy in the Arena matches on Max. I have Max, so I will check it out before next week.
You got to make sure to search for HBO Max instead of just Max, because it's changed back to HBO Max.
It changes back to HBO Max. I'm like, what is this? You guys can't make your decision.
It's in the witness protection streaming program. It doesn't know, but wait, I thought millions upon millions and millions of people watch this. So why do we need to change the name? Everyone's search history is going to get all fucked up.
It's going to get all crazy
millions again. And millions now need to go and search HBO Max instead of Max.
Right, absolutely. It's crazy that they continue to change their name. As we got the main event, which is 16 years in the making, because the last time they faced each other was in WWE in a singles match. It's Nick Nemeth versus Jeff Hardy.
A little John Cena, Randy Orton-ish.
A little bit of nostalgia for these two gentlemen here, and for the crowd alike.
Well, and it's going to be a great match if Dolph can still go. Nick, sorry. And Jeff can still kind of go, and especially can't go in Canada. So he's got to go here.
Yeah, I try. It's hard to call them by their new names, but I try the best I can.
Zigglypuff always works. But yes, folks, let us know who you're taking with. You got Jeff Hardy, or you got Nemeth, the Nemesis Nemeth. We're in commercial break, or at least I am. Kevin, what up? Wrestle Rants, Boston, Foxy, Vance Capitals choked in the second round. I haven't seen the scores. Are the Leafs and Panthers playing? Someone let us know. That might be why KJ's probably screaming into the abyss. Stoner Jesus, may the blood be with you and also with you. Nemeth for the win. Nick Nemeth is who Lexus King wishes he is. Well, he's the evolved form. Is Lexus King the Miles Bourne of Randy Orton?
I got confused. Is Lexus King?
Yeah, I know. We're crossing pathways and timelines here. Well, because you got Miles Bourne instead of Riley Osborne. We finally figured out now of who Miles Bourne is. He wants to be judged by his ability, not his disability. And he's very much, he's the middle of the evolution between, or the starter evolution between him, Kyle Fletcher, and Randy Orton.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. Yeah, he definitely said that he wants to be known by his ability, not his disability. That was a line for the ages. I like that line. But I like Miles Bourne. I kind of want to see what they kind of do with him. Like he literally looks like Randy Orton had a child just by himself. Like Randy, that's what it looks like.
If you've ever played Pokemon, Digimon, all of that, you can literally do the chart of you start off with a Miles Bourne of a starter Pokemon, and then he evolves into a Kyle Fletcher, and then if you evolve him even beyond that, when you evolve your Wartortle into a Blastoise, your Charizard, your Charmander, or Charmeleon into a Charizard, then you get Charmander, or whatever. You got what I was fucking saying.
I got what you're trying to say.
Randy Orton. I'm messing up my Pokemon. My wife hates me right now. But it's that, and I will say this, and yeah, take your shots or whatever. But as someone who's technically has the disability and all that, and it's just, and that's a really great line. And they're with the I want to be judged by my ability, not my disability, and all that, and to be literally the only partially deaf wrestler I can think of. The next closest comparable I can think of was Matt Hamill, the UFC fighter, and all of that, which unfortunately he's known for losing to John Jones. But yeah, to be out there, have all of that, and they're getting behind him. He's going to get that kind of make yourself famous kid moment of he's going to be their babyface star going for a bit here. He's going to break away from no quarter and going to be their kind of plucky babyface for a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely going to be the star out of that group. That's what they're, building him for and priming him for in NXT. Yeah, great line by him. That was powerful. Even I like how even the crowd stopped when he was like, I'm deaf, and the crowd just stopped talking and let him kind of explain himself and his background and where he came from. That was a cool sign of respect, and not them just saying what or whatever they
Oh
would like
my
to change.
fuck. I couldn't be a guy who halfway represents the white nation if they're out there. Why?
Exactly,
But he can't hear
exactly.
you chant that. He doesn't know. He's
I
the
mean,
little engine that doesn't hear the train coming.
I mean, and I know Ethan Page came out and said something to the effect, "You can't hear me anyway," or he said something in that area, and I was like,
But
"Yo,
I like that they've played with that. I like that like Vic
right,
Joseph was kind of what initially drew attention to it because he mentioned in a comment about the reaction he was getting. And Twitter kind of ran with it. And so now it's become a thing. It's become a talking point. People are aware of it. So fuck it, especially too, as we are in May. And by the way, this is Mental Health Awareness Month. So doubling down on all the things right now, thinking you feel all the emotions. But it's Mental Health Awareness Month. The man's out here saying I'd rather be judged by my ability versus my disability. 100%. Getting all the positive messages, my guy.
yeah, absolutely." Sends all the positive messages to anybody that struggles with a disability. So, yeah, I have a brother that struggles with a disability. So yeah, those things like that, really are touching.
Absolutely. I'm honestly, if I'm WWE, that's a shirt. That's a shirt.
Yeah, that's a marketable shirt. Absolutely.
That when you got Break a Wish out there with John Cena, you got your Make a Wish now.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. As we're back with TNA, back with the main event with Nick Nemeth and Matt Hardy, and it seems like Nick Nemeth actually has the upper hand for the moment right here.
That means Jeff Hardy's winning. We got about 8 minutes.
Yeah,
Nemeth's gonna work him over for about another 4. Jeff gets a fire up, hits a twist of fate, swanton bomb. Bob's your uncle. Thank your mom.
Bob's
Yeah.
your
I'm just glad that we're not getting Willow. I respect to Willow who recently re-signed. She got in the bag over in AEW, but I'm just glad we're not getting TNA Jeff Hardy Willow. I've never liked that Willow.
Yeah, I mean, to each his own, right? I haven't really
Willow
seen
sucks, and not that Willow.
I haven't seen and I'm gonna go back in TNA's library and history. I haven't seen like the Willow character all the way. And I'm kind of
Oh.
interested to see the Willow character all the way and kind of formulate my own opinion from there.
That'll be the breakdowns now instead of the reviews. And when we're here live for Thursdays for TNA, you can just do the. I found like I reviewed Willow in TNA. Here's my thoughts.
Smile Mark down here asking me what's my NFL team. I don't really watch football that much, but I'll go with my family, and because I'm from Buffalo, I'll say the Buffalo Bills, and the Buffalo Bills actually played the Atlanta Falcons October 13th here in Atlanta, and I may do my brother a justice and go to the game with him. So,
There you go.
you
Yeah,
know,
I kind of always. I know you live out there, so I'm like, I kind of always figure you as a Falcons fan. I was there a little bit with Mike Vick of being a Falcons fan, but yeah,
yeah.
I don't know if you saw, but everyone's talking about AI. So the Buffalo Bills got AI, got Allen Iverson to do their schedule announcement because everyone's using AI. So they use the real AI and Allen Iverson to announce their schedule.
Ah.
How dare I love Willow. Well, in difference of opinions, but yeah, Willow can go pick up sticks. I don't know.
Not pick
And
up
that's not
sticks.
for Willow the Pillow out there in AEW. She's fantastic. I'm so glad that she re-signed all of that. Just I never need to see Jeff Hardy Willow ever again in my life.
Right. So I'm trying to see if they added any more matches to Under Siege because TNA is good at that, not talking about it on the show and just dropping it on Twitter. They did add one match. Ariana Grace is taking on Tessa Blanchard.
Whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah. Maybe because Tessa Blanchard slapped her in the backstage segment earlier tonight.
Well, why?
So that was a match added. Let me just go straight to the TNA page to see.
Fair enough. I got Jeff with a 2.5 count. Well, no, I mentioned about the idea of you get Ariana Grace and Santino versus Victoria Crawford and Robert Stone, but Victoria Crawford's taking on Masha Slamovich. You can't do that match, motherfucker. But yeah,
seems like that's the only new match announced so far for Under Siege. So like Vance down here saying rip Ariana Grace.
Yeah, well, respectfully, as we got the Kata Hajime from Nemeth out here, can we call Under Siege just underwhelming at this point?
Yeah, the first time in a long time I'm saying this, but the card just does not look appealing at all. So we'll see. We'll see come next Friday.
Yeah, now it's a question if is it burnout? Is it booking in the wrong decisions? Is it like what led to this? Because we got a Faymaster.
I feel like I feel like, and I don't want to say this, but I feel like Under Siege is the precursor to Against All Odds, because Against All Odds is 2 weeks later, and I feel like they're saving some of the bigger ish matches, whatever they got stirring for Against All Odds. And then they had right after Against All Odds, they got to build towards the Slammiversary big pay-per-view. As he goes for a twist of fate.
That's not a twist of fate. That's
more of a twist of stunner.
Yeah, it's a twist of stunner. Oh, we got 3 minutes. So yeah, we're getting into the Swantons.
This might be it.
Oh, knees up.
We got the knees up.
1, 2. I will say this though, with Under Siege, though, a little bit of, but still in a time on what I'm in a trilogy, anything like that. You know, the middle chapter at least still has some weight to it, has a little bit of caveat, versus it's just a go between. Like this is the most I've seen. If we're going all the way into the next pay-per-view, this feels the most. We're just bridging here.
Yeah,
like this
we're
is
bridging the gap.
Weekly television.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. I agree with you there. As Jeff Hardy almost had the pin there. We got about 2 minutes left on the clock.
Oh,
going for another twist of fate or
super kick. Twist of stunner. 2 count. It is really interesting though to think about it. We grew up like with John Cena, Randy Orton. You can arguably say even Dolph Ziggler, Jeff Hardy, all their 16-year rivalry and everything, and we're now at this point to on the road again. Like this
exactly
is the road here.
I'm sitting here thinking 16 years ago I was 17-ish.
Oh God,
somewhere around there.
Twist of fate. Finally,
now
an
we got
actual
the twist of fate this time,
right?
That's it.
Swan time bomb for the 3 count.
That's the Hardys technically first win since before Rebellion, because they lost at Rebellion. They lost at the live episode of TNA. They just been on a losing in the past couple of weeks.
As you get jumped by Ryan Nemeth, this feels like uncles fighting at a cookout.
Just rolling in the grass.
Yeah, literally, like Matt Hardy just tripped over Ziggler just because he was there, not because of anything he did, just because he happened to be there. This is uncles fighting at a cookout type shit.
Right.
I will whoop your little cousin's ass.
Oh, those tag team titles are so beautiful.
Leon Slater, the unofficial Hardy here.
Yeah. I'm the official Hardy for next week at Under Siege next Friday. Next weekend in general is a huge wrestling weekend.
Tell me yours just froze on the same frame mine did, because
Yeah,
I
it
have
froze on
Nick Nemeth just and then Ryan Nemeth was holding the tag belt, all bug-eyed as shit.
Yeah. It just froze
like,
right there.
they cut right hard at the 10 o'clock time limit.
Exactly. And this is their app. And then they have, they're on Access TV. That's their channel. There's like, no, still hard cut off at TNA. We doing at 10 o'clock. We're doing the whole USA.
Who remembers who actually has access to Access TV?
I don't at all.
It's amazing that it's called Access TV, but no one has access to it.
Absolutely. As we have reached the end of TNA this week.
Right. So, folks, let us know what you're giving this show out of 10. Me and Anthony will talk about everything that we just watched through, how you feel, and how you go into Under Siege. I know we've been a little disparaging, calling it underwhelming versus Under Siege. Yeah.
So we got one more show left. We got next week, next Thursday. Tonight wasn't bad. It wasn't the best. It was one of those other ones, just kind of consistent throughout. Nothing high, nothing low. For the first time in a very long time, I think I'm giving this a 6.5.
Ooh.
Like I'm not. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't a 7.
Anthem, listen up right now. He's not mad. He's just disappointed.
Yeah, I just feel like it could have been. I didn't like the constant interruptions from Robert Stone. I know it was only 2, but it was like we didn't have to. We didn't need all of that. The opener, the disqualification, I wasn't really a big fan of that. The main event was great. The tag team match with the Rascals was great. And I saw a little bit of the Rosemary and Zaya Brookside match, and I thought that was great too. So 3 great matches. Anything driving towards Under Siege, nothing really built towards Under Siege. So I think that's where my 6 comes from. You're a week away from Under Siege, and the only match you decided to add to a 4-match card so far is Tessa Blanchard versus Ariana Grace.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, we got Foxy saying 16 years ago, I was 26. Well, you're older than I. 6 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Leon, the honorary Hardy, 10 out of 10. TNA actually has theirs together. Now I'm going to watch Sinners again. Good night, everyone. I'm going to be honest, Sinners is going to be a lot better than anything you just watched tonight.
Exactly. I heard that movie is great, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. But you're right, 10 out of 10. I'm gonna say 10 out of 10 for TNA actually having their stuff together. They always have their stuff together. Tonight was just like, we're not building to Under Siege, and we literally are like 8 days away. So
you not about to like me. 9, 7, 9, 6.5. 6.5 to me is a high of 6. I'm almost a 5 of. I think this was super just down the middle of the road of, again, and that's why I guess probably part of why I'm really petitioning for like a Trick versus a Joe Hendry on an Under Siege. Hugely carries that fucking show. We talked about it. Beyond that, Honor Siege is just some more TNA wrestling. It's good
Yeah,
wrestling. I'll give you that, but I
right now
don't.
the only
There's
title.
nothing I'm not missing.
Yeah, it's I I always try to speak positive about TNA, but this is the first time where I'm like, you're a week away from Under Siege, and then you have two title matches, the Knockouts title match, which I'm hoping it's great. I'll just say it like that. You have the tag team match, which I'm kind of interested in because you got Leon Slater in the mix. Like I said, Matt and Leon are not going to win, but I think they'll pull off a great match. The international championship is not on the line. You got Tessa versus Ariana Grace. I know Tessa is a great wrestler. I have no clue how Ariana Grace looks in the ring. And then Eddie Edwards versus Cody Deaner. Like, they had a great video package of Cody Deaner tonight, but it's like, I'm not invested into Cody Deaner, but I know if they give this match time, it will be good. So
We started off. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say we started off this show with Victoria Crawford and Tessa
Mhm,
Blanchard versus Nikita Lyons and Masa Slamovich, and
mhm.
I don't feel like we ever got
Away from
above
that.
or beyond that. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. No, 100% agree. I'm not upset about your 5 at all. Tonight wasn't the best at all. And as a fan tonight of TNA, I'm a little disappointed that it wasn't much of I don't want to use the word hype, but focus. That's the word I'm looking for. Focus going into Under Siege and into the Under Siege pay-per-view. And like now I'm like, maybe Trick Williams versus Joe Hendry should be on that card to raise it up a little bit.
Oh, I think it needs to be, but even then, you mentioned of probably way too much Robert Stone in that
Yeah,
whole story, which is already convoluted and doesn't make a ton of sense.
absolutely.
And especially when you're going into a big weekend in pro wrestling of coming up this next weekend, you've got Double or Nothing, you've got Battleground, and Under Siege is on that Friday going into that. So this is really when you kind of need to, pardon the pun, batten down the hatches a little bit, and you would want to make Under Siege feel close to that, at least when you're
Yeah.
bigging up Joe Hendry
You
on
want to
NXT.
yeah.
Yeah.
You want to make it seem important if it's going to be minus SmackDown because it's a weekly show, but for all the pay-per-views or specials that's happening next weekend, for Under Siege to be kicking off the weekend, it's just with that card, absolutely not.
Out of those three, because it is going to be those three, you would hope that at least be fighting for a second. At this point, they're just lucky to get third out of three.
Well, actually, it's out of, if you want to count Saturday night main event, that's actually out
Oh
of 4. And right
no, it's
now,
not that same, but they're not that same weekend though. I'm saying.
I thought Saturday main event was Saturday. I thought it was Under Siege Saturday night main event, and then Battleground and Dynamite
Oh,
on
holy
Sunday.
shit! Is it that fast? God damn!
Yeah.
You might be right, actually. God damn! I didn't realize it was coming up that fast. I thought it was
Yeah.
just going to Under Siege and then Battleground and Double or Nothing. But yeah, no, fair enough.
Yeah.
So even then, Christ, they might come up 5th out of 4th.
Now, the other Nick just said that AJ Francis versus Mike Santana was announced for Under Siege. That sounds interesting. They had the War of Words last weekend tonight, and Mike Santana could put on a good match. So that should be fun.
Yes, that's great. That's the same thing as with Christ already. Why am I already blanking on his name? Intercontinental champion. Steve Macklin versus
Matt
Matt
Cardona.
Cardona for the belt and everything like that. You add that on Under Siege. Cool. That's great. That's a really good weekly television. Dare I say above average. Yeah. I still think that if you had Joe Hendry versus Trick, because it's at best third match at Battleground. That would be your flagship weight bearing match on this show. If you had that there, and if Trick was to win, you have your first ever time that a WWE superstar is holding a TNA title and it happens on a TNA event, big moment, big fucking moment.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think this is just going to be, this pay-per-view is going to be the case of they're going to deliver an in-ring ability and put on some great
Right.
matches, but any of the stories going into it, it's just not there. It's just not happening at this point in time.
Fair enough. But Adam becoming a new member, shout out. We do have the memberships, we do have the super chats, all of that. John Sierra have access to access. There you go. Well, and Nick, shout out my multiversal brother out there. You know, my variant, or I'm his variant, either way. And Saturday night main event is the day before Battleground, which actually I hadn't even thought about that till you mentioned it. Which so then you're gonna get R-Truth versus John Cena, and that's gonna try and compete with Under Siege. Respectfully, Under Siege is coming up a day late and a dollar short.
No, absolutely, absolutely. It's a heavy weekend next week. I'm excited. Next weekend, I'm excited for it.
Right. But 9 out of 10, folks. Again, let us know any ratings you got for TNA Impact tonight. How you feeling, sir? The show's gone off the air. I'm still just looking at the Nemeth brothers just pointing at me
Frozen.
like they're just disappointed.
Yeah, to end everything here, I mean, TNA tried its best. Under Siege is not looking card wise the best, but as a TNA fan, as a TNA faithful, I will be there next Friday, hopefully watching, see what they deliver as we got Against All Odds next and the big Slammiversary, which I'm really excited about. I think the card I have in mind for Slammiversary is, I hope the card that some of the matches are what they had, like Santana versus Joe Hendry. That's the big one I'm looking forward to. But yeah, the final thoughts is I want to see how TNA turns this around in 8 days. Not with the card, but at least with the in-ring quality of the matches, because I don't think you can really turn this card around. But the in-ring quality, I'm excited to at least see, because they deliver when it comes to that.
So anything out here saying do better, be better.
Yep.
But we will be back at it like a jackrabbit tomorrow. Not just next Friday when we're talking about Under Siege. We'll be back at it tomorrow for Friday Night SmackDown. We're already getting into the Money in the Bank qualifier matches and everything. Crazy to think.
Right. Yeah. So back tomorrow for Friday Night SmackDown. I think we may have the weekend-ish off. And then we got perhaps we got Monday Night Raw, NXT, Dynamite. I think we're back for a Saturday night main event predictions maybe next Thursday. I haven't looked at the calendar. And then we got that whole Memorial Day weekend of Under Siege, Saturday night main event, Double or Nothing, Battleground, Raw, and NXT just wrapped up all in one.
We got you covered, folks, when it comes to anything and everything when it comes to pro wrestling. But our shit is real. Our shit is raw. Our shit is authentic. When you talk about that wrestling, you put that full life with it.
All right, guys. See you on the flip side.